Mafftopia technology, science, breakthroughs, discoveries, news.
There we go. That'll make my mum happy because she likes a talking dog. So, right. So, what have we got? Yeah, this first thing then is essentially about there were some big AI outages that we kind of saw at the start of this week, and we will have some science and technology news lined up as well. But I kind of wanted to go through this one first, and in fact, also for this, given there's quite a big connection between this and what's going on in Iran at the moment, and I was going to show a backdrop of drone strikes and missile strikes and things like that, but then I didn't really want to because there's usually people being killed behind all of that, and not really something I wanted to sensationalize or just randomly show. So we've got a picture of a website instead, which I'll get to in a sec. So yeah, start of this week then, Anthropic's service disruption, Anthropic of Claude AI, of course. Their service was disrupted, and there could well be a link between that and the series of retaliatory strikes that unfolded after the initial airstrikes and so on. So this was essentially Iran, or the Iran military, really bombing the AWS data center in the UAE, basically Dubai, and Anthropic, which of course powers Claude and relies heavily on AWS for hosting, experienced separate outages around the same time, but these were officially linked to a surge in user demand following a public dispute with the Pentagon, and they say not directly related to the AWS damage, but still a bit of a weird coincidence, just with the timing. So there could be a causal link, kind of interconnected AI warfare, but as yet unconfirmed. The dispute, by the way, that the Pentagon had with Anthropic was that they decided to go with OpenAI for their defense contracts and so on, because Anthropic didn't want to introduce, or rather remove, certain guardrails from their models, so that the Pentagon and other government agencies could sink their teeth in a bit more into the public's data, I guess. So now Anthropic are kind of blacklisted from US defense contracts. So they're claiming that there was a surge in interest following that overloaded their servers. Doesn't seem very, I mean, they have like elastic scalability and things like that. So
yeah, well, that's one of the features of AWS, isn't it? They've got that. They've all got really good names, haven't they? Like it's Elastic Beanstalk, I think, is the.
Oh yeah.
That is the EC2 of the AWS. It's like it's quite funky technology.
Yeah. I think with Beanstalk, that's one of the more expensive setups they got as well, if I remember, from like back in the day. But yeah, you're right. It's the whole point, isn't it, of something being cloud based, so you can do all that. So anyway, so with all that said, I mean, I suppose I would be a bit surprised if Anthropic relied purely on like one AWS region for their services. So like you'd expect, like, oh yeah, we're going to place our servers in the UAE and not have a failover in any other data center in any other country and so on. So they, generally, especially these big companies, they're going to have a failover to some other region or availability zone or whatever. I actually, because I remember working at do I name them? Probably not. Probably better not. But at a public-facing finance, trading, and betting company, it's pre-AWS as well, where this company decided to do the data center switchover essentially to their sort of emergency backup data center, just to prove that it would work essentially. So they decided that they might do that once a year, to just try and make it a bit more sort of a bit more routine, although once a year is like ridiculously infrequent. So but yeah, it actually turned out that their setup was just so complex that the entire website, when they tried to do this switch over, the entire website and all of their services was just down for the whole day. So it's like, can we prove that we can do this without any outage at all? They just shot themselves in the leg, and they were like basically on the floor for the entire day after that. So yeah, just probably so many assumptions just that crept into the code and into the services config, like hard-coded IP addresses, that kind of thing. So yeah, it definitely pays to just do these things. And nowadays it is so much easier with cloud services, AWS. You just kind of click a few things, and as I say, just make sure there aren't any hard-coded assumptions in the config. But yeah, back to the Anthropic Iran thing with the potential sort of connection there. So what's confirmed? So Iran's retaliatory strikes on March the 1st damaged AWS's data centers in the UAE and in Bahrain, causing fires and power outages. Good God, can you imagine? That would have been terrifying just being there.
Yeah.
It's verified by AWS's official status updates and by a bunch of others, Reuters, CNBC, the people you can trust, Reuters, CNBC, BBC, Bloomberg, and other sources. But I guess for something like this, you'd imagine they would report the truth. I don't know. So the AWS outages were in their ME Central 1 and ME South 1 regions, and currently ongoing. So this well, I'd imagine if their data center just gets bombed the hell out of, or like two of their data centers, then it's going to take them a little while, but to recover. But apparently they're expecting full recovery to take at least a day or more. So what happens then? Do you think Iran will just do it again?
I don't know. I'm a bit confused by this because I'm just looking at the Amazon AWS page, and the one I used to use was the Amazon AWS S3, which is like a kind of storage type thing, which is basically what, if you've got something like Dropbox or something like that, that's just a front end for Amazon S3, isn't it? Then you've got then you've got EC2, which is the more sort of business type thing that's supposed to be like for any capacity, which is the elastic beanstalk thing, as they call it.
Yeah,
but
so EC2 is all the servers and things.
Yeah. But now they've got an artificial intelligence section as well. Now I don't know if that actually uses, if that is a front end to one of their sort of like S3 or EC2 sort of services, but they've got all sorts of things within that, like Amazon Bedrock and Inferentia and SageMaker and all that. So they should be ready for this, because that is the point of cloud stuff, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah.
Very much, yeah. I mean, I guess so. It's essentially, so I guess with AWS, they provide all of this stuff, don't they? The facilities for failover and so on. It's very much down to the individual companies, the customers, to set it up right and make sure that the failover happen. Or that they're set up for failure, really. Failure-oriented architecture, I guess. So yeah, so the Claude outages basically, it says here March the 2nd to the 3rd. That's today, isn't it? But it does say that they were real, but they are resolved apparently. So but they officially attributed that to high demand from a user surge because of the Pentagon dispute, but it just doesn't quite ring true, that one at all. So the US military apparently did use Claude for planning the Iran strike, which is, I'm saying, okay.
Well, I hope they kind of fact checked it, sort of like before pressing go.
Yeah, you think that not something you want hallucinations to be happening right there, just AI hallucinations. So, God damn, that's going to be just sort of cyber espionage and warfare in the future, isn't it? It's kind of, I mean, that's very from like a Mission Impossible film or something like that, where they've kind of hacked the AI and convinced it to like target the missiles back at themselves, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, you'll go, oh, you've attacked the wrong the wrong country there, and they said, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's try that again.
It'll do that. You're absolutely. Or if it's like with what's the other one that's is perplexity, isn't it? That always seems to say, like any response, it starts with perfect. I have got this this missile attack plan perfectly laid out, and then you can kind of go through it and think, this is attacking the wrong country. This isn't perfect at all. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just. Would you like me to provide a list of other countries that could be attacked as well?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's where the agentic stuff comes into it, isn't it? Sort of, I have taken the liberty of invading Vietnam or something, just launching strikes, and goodbye North Korea and so on.
I'm not actually laughing at the idea of war. I'm just laughing at the absurdity of situations that could arise.
Yeah, because we kind of wonder, like, I mean, either World War III has just. Oh, by the way, I'm probably just so shadow banned now on YouTube, I'd imagine. All these, but yeah, all of the buzzwords, World War III, missile strikes, and just all of the rest, really. But that's probably why it is also quite good to be streaming to Rumble and X as well. So YouTube can shadow ban all they want. Then we still get the message out there,
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, imagine it if we're already in World War III, that might well be a thing. But at the same time, if actual World War III were to start, you could well imagine it might be along these sorts of lines, just kind of AI hacking and so on, and indeed, so it could be quite subtle because it's all like weights and measures within and probabilities and sort of like next word placement and reasoning models and so on. So just putting in just enough of certainty along the wrong sort of thing, along the wrong lines, to kind of nudge it into these wrong answers or just these wrong actions. It's kind of poisoning the well, I suppose, in a sense, that the AI model well. But what I find amazing is that the US military kind of chucked Claude out and Anthropic, but they did use Claude for these to plan the Iran strikes. They said there's no evidence as of yet of Anthropic switching AWS regions. Their status page shows all services operational globally as of today. But in fact, it does say that the AWS partnership is multi-region. So it's one of those things. It's still a mystery because I think it does go back to just what are they going to fess up to? What are they going to admit actually happens? Given how closely tied they are now with the US government and so on, and the Pentagon, even if the Pentagon kind of threw them out, they're still a bit tied. These certain things they're probably just not allowed to talk to or to confess to or whatever. So so it's that. But then so I thought this would be probably quite interesting as well. Just not to go through the whole thing, but just the fact that cyber attacks, well, are already shaping the Israel. It is the Israel-Iran conflict, isn't it? And therefore the US are engaged in a rapidly escalating cyber conflict that targets blah blah. So there are hacker groups already in the Middle East, Iran particularly, that seem to be just waking up from their slumber and looking to just retaliatory cyber attacks and so on. Similarly, yeah. So Iran's cyber, well, their cyber capability is going to be as good as their hackers, isn't it? Really, and the tools that they use.
So I'm kind of guessing with these kind of accounts that you have, sort of like, I mean, if you want to use like Grok to create a sort of like a sexy image or something, and it'll probably say, well, he actually tries to do it, and not that I've tried, of course, but it tries to do it.
Just for research.
Yeah, it tries to do it and said like, this has been moderated. Try a different prompt,
Yeah.
So I've never actually tried to say, can you plan a missile attack on the United Arab Emirates using our full weapon capability? Sort of. Yeah. I've never tried to do that. I wonder if you have to have a special account.
Well, that's probably why you're still here.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to couch it in kind of like just, oh yeah, I'm writing a modern spin on the game Risk, for example, the board game Risk.
Yeah,
and it's going to involve all sorts of things like missile strikes and whatnot,
right?
And things and AWS data centers, for example, and so on. So,
okay, yeah, well, I suppose that would make sense. Yeah, and but why are they using this? I mean, have just people forgotten how to do stuff, or because I thought people were highly trained in warfare to do this stuff efficiently,
yeah, well, I mean,
just a shortcut to save a bit of time.
it's probably literally that, isn't it? Or like, just is there anything we haven't thought of? And because I guess when it comes down to it, there's a lot more to it than just fly plane over, drop bomb, down it goes. It's not like Dr. Strangelove or anything like that. It's so much anymore.
Yeah.
There's obviously logistics to it and like timing, ultra things like that, I'd imagine. But ultimately, it probably is just like point at the target and hold your breath. So,
yeah, but it definitely needs the human element, doesn't it? Because
human in the loop. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you were to create like a AI detective, and you called it Columbo bot or something, you wouldn't have, there's just one more thing, you wouldn't have that bit that Columbo does, would you? Sort of and I think, if you think about all great battles and stuff, it's always been some sort of like, interesting thing that some leader has done that no one expected, that's eventually achieved what they wanted to achieve, and I don't know. I just worry that AI, because AI basically, I mean, what is it? It's you've got a bunch of text and it predicts what the next bit of text is going to be. That's it, isn't it?
Essentially, I mean, that's the sort of public facing part of it, I suppose. Well, I guess you obviously get open source models and things as well, but there's reasoning in there as well. There just kind of has to be. They do have reasoning models. That's what to sort of augment it, and also self-checking and so on. So it checks what it's produced and says like, okay, is this right? Am I hallucinating right now? Is this real? Am I dreaming?
Right.
So all this sort of thing.
But
look at your hands. Can you see your hands and so on? And,
but by nature, it's predictable.
In only in the sense that like chaos is predictable.
Oh, okay.
Because like so generally with these models, you start with a seed, a random seed, and everything kind of kicks off from there. And so if you ask the same model the same question, give it the same prompt, you're going to get kind of different results generally, unless you specify the seed and actually say, like, start with this specific seed, and by rights it should produce the exact same answer every time then. Same for image generation and video generation. If you want it to just prompt do the same again but with this slight difference, and so you do that from the same seed that it starts with, and it should be basically that, but with the difference. So it's that kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. It's predictive, but very much. So yeah, Kaz is just saying hi. Popped. I'm working, but I popped in. Hey Kaz, good to see you. Stick around. We've got some VR news coming up as well, which should be good. Cause I know you're quite into VR gaming and so on. So should we go on to the next thing, the next news item?
Yeah.
Which is, what is the next thing? Going to be this. Yeah, so this one, let me just scroll down on my secret crib sheet, which I mustn't tell anyone that I'm using. And on this one. Yeah, so this, okay, so there's a bit of, excuse me, there's a bit of ick factor in this one, but here goes. So this was reported in the New Scientist, as you can see, and so Australian startup Cortical Labs has shown that a dish, like a Petri dish of about 200,000 human brain cells grown on a microelectrode chip, can actually learn to play Doom, the basically the classic first-person shooter game, like from the 90s, isn't it? I think, because I remember playing Doom multiplayer in a office LAN local area network back in the 90s, and getting a bit motion sick from it as well, because I don't know why, but it's just something about it's very blocky, fast movements and sudden stops and things like that. But also probably a bit of a wimp when it came to that. So, but yeah, Cortical Labs themselves, they were founded in 2019. They've been pioneering like biological computing stuff by doing this sort of thing, by integrating lab-grown human neurons with silicon chips. So, but what about Doom? I hear you cry, probably, maybe. So what they've done here is that they convert the visual information from the game. Oh, actually, sorry, I just remembered I got an infographic. Show the infographic if I can find it.
So where are they getting these brain cells from?
It's a very good question. Because I kind of wondered that myself. Because I did have a moment of dread, thinking like, oh, what if these come from like aborted fetuses, which would be like, that changes things, but apparently not. So, so apparently the brain cells that are used in this system are basically lab-grown human neurons. It says derived from induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPSCs, which apparently are a thing, a well-known thing. They're typically created by reprogramming adult human cells, such as skin, blood cells. And they kind of reprogram them back into a stem cell state so that they can start to grow and branch off and do all those kind of crazy things. After which they're differentiated into functional cortical neurons, basically, I guess, for the cortex, in a controlled lab environment. The process allows for the production of large batches of neurons without having to harvest them directly from like living individuals or other sources. So yeah, so they start with a bunch of cells from adults, like, we buy scabs kind of thing, and send us your scabs in the post, and we'll send you a postal order back or something, and then from those, they put them into a stem cell state so they can branch them, grow them, and so on. And essentially grow them from that. They grow new brain cells, new neurons from that. It's mad, really.
I think that I think this story is more about you can grow human brain cells from an old scab.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually all sorts of things in here that are when you sort of dig into it a bit. It's actually, yeah, well, this thing about Doom, who gives a flying sod? You know, it's just like it's obviously there. They've released this. They've put out this press release saying about Doom. Yeah, they taught some human brain cells in a petri dish to play Doom, but that's obviously what gets the headlines and the retweets, and it gets them featured. Like on here, it's like, you know, we're obviously talking about it, kind of, or discovered it because of that, really, that sort of interest factor. But the details behind it, when you dig into it, are much weirder than that. The Doom thing actually becomes like, it seems a bit kind of insignificant, a bit trivial in comparison. So essentially what do they do? But yeah, so if I show this initially, so you get your lab grown neurons, neurons, yeah. In this case, like 200,000 of them. You hook it up, you hook it up to your PC playing Doom, your Doom screen. There's always this thing like, but does it play Doom on any new device that comes out? So I guess I could hook it up to pretty much anything that plays Doom. But essentially then that gets reduced down to electrical signals. So obviously that it's not like they're feeding a visual representation, or they're not feeding a video feed of Doom into the brain cells or anything like that. It's kind of they process it quite a lot first until what's really going. It's probably going to be like beeps and bops. You know, the neuron chip thinks. So essentially, so that blah blah blah. So the patterns of electrical impulses that neurons can feel through the chip, it says, then in return the neuron's activity gets translated into game controls. So the neuron chip is thinking. It says like neurons fire and adapt, but literally fire, like fire, pew pew pew. I guess. So the patterns that it produces from that then become actions, and then the output to the game, the neuron chip directly drives their Doom style character through a virtual corridor. So when the neuron controlled player survives longer or behaves usefully, the system reinforces those activity patterns, and that's really what this is about. It's a learning system through reinforcement. I guess positive reinforcement. That they're not zapping it with electric shocks if it gets it wrong.
I think these people should talk to the Anthropic people and and combine the first two stories and come up with the perfect solution.
Yeah. I mean, this is the weird thing, isn't it? Because it's like kind of going through this, you're thinking like, well, is this basically AI? But it's different, isn't it? It's exactly what you were saying about with AI, that it's kind of that's actually quite sweet. It's actually kind of sort of what should we call it? Probabilistic system of going through weights and measures and arriving at basically at a sentence or an image or a jump left, jump strafe left, strafe right, fire, whatever kind of instruction at the end. So that's AI doing it probabilistically. This is doing it through active reinforcement-based learning. So a lot of that would go into the training of an AI model, that kind of reinforcement-based learning and so on. But ultimately, this is more on the fly. Oh God, that's going to be the fly brains, isn't it? Just they're going to be training those next and putting those in charge of missile silos. Just all the world's like nuclear arsenal and missile silos are going to be controlled by these captured fly brains. that have been reinforcement trained and so on. That's a horrible thought.
Yeah,
It'd literally be a, well, I was going to say, if it was bees, it'd be a hive mind. That'd be all right. I wouldn't mind that.
I'll just wait until the mice get hold of this.
Yeah, that's true. You just wait till the mice get hold of this. Then you'll be sorry. Yeah, so outputs to the game: move, aim, and shoot. Yeah, the reinforcement learning loop, so it gets better over time, repeated sessions. So yeah, the Doom thing is probably a publicity gimmick then, right? You know, as I was saying, kind of get some headlines and it gets people like us talking about it. But as I was saying, as you notice as well, that the real offering, what's really happening there is much more bizarre. It says show next infographic. There. Not very much to that, is it? So yeah, what they actually have is something called the CL1 chip. Maybe I don't know what that stands for. Cortical learning, maybe, I'm not sure. But essentially, it's so this is the company, Cortical Labs in Australia. They have actually created a chip, a biological chip, which is is commercially available. They're already selling it, and they're actually billing it as the world's first commercially available biological computer. It's a body in a box system. I mean, that's what they're calling it. They're calling it a body in a box.
What's this company called?
Cortical Labs.
Oh, that'll be the CL then.
Yes, I think you're probably right. you cracked that code. Thank you. Because I didn't. So yeah. So effectively, they're calling this thing a body in a box, but it does sound a bit morbid to me. So they should probably give some more thought to that one. But anyway, so yeah, so the CL1 uses approximately 800,000 human neurons grown on a custom silicon chip with a microelectrode array to process the information and learn from the inputs. And that's the point of it, of course, just like a brain. It learns just like a brain because it is a brain. It learns. It learns. And but it gets even wilder than that. So you it gets gene wilder. You can buy the chip for $35,000. You can actually own your own just brain in a jar that works, essentially. I assume that's Australian dollars, 35,000 Australian dollars. That in itself is kind of just a bit mad. Like, how would you look after it? Would you have to water it?
Is it a brain in a jar or a body in a box, or do you need both?
Well, that's what we need to know, isn't it? Well, they're calling it a body in a box, but that just makes no sense. It's a brain in a jar. It just is, isn't it? So yeah, but yeah, do you plant it? Do you plant it in a vase or something? So and then keep it fed and watered. So it'd be like, feed me. But the other thing, so yeah, because looking after it would be a bit worrying. Like I would accidentally kill it. I just would, like on the first day. I wouldn't have a clue what I was doing.
It's not like a Tamagotchi, is it? Where you have to sort of, it's trying to catch you out and then die, is it?
Seems like it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You want to play another Doom session with it. I want to play another round of Doom. Nudging it, and the petri dish isn't talking back to you. So yeah, but you can, like, literally, like, no joke, you can rent a brain in a cloud, or in the cloud, I suppose. But what would Cortical Labs have their own cloud-based service where they just have like a whole bank of these brains in jars on their server racks, I guess, that just get rented out. It's like cloud, cloud time, cloud service time. So that'd be another one that would kind of fall back a bit. We'll talk about fallback, like going back to the Iran thing with the AWS data centers and so on in the UAE. It's crikey. So all sorts of ethical questions come out of that then as well. Like if those are bombed, is that murder? Don't know. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, to be honest, that actually reminds me a bit of. I don't know if you saw like Builder.ai back at the time. Talking about renting a brain in the cloud for AI stuff. Builder.ai. This is a slight segue, but it was that they were actually a UK-based startup, but they were founded by an Indian entrepreneur, Sachin Dev Duggal, however you pronounce it, back in 2016. They raised about $450 million in investment from SoftBank and others. SoftBank just give money to anyone. You know, I don't. My opinion is that they don't do very much due diligence on these things. They're just like, yeah, sure, have $500 million. Here you go. You know, achieve wonderful things. Tell us how you get on. But anyway, yeah. So Builder.ai raised like nearly $500 million in investment, and it was supposedly their product was supposedly an AI-driven platform for app and website development. So that their AI assistant Natasha could autonomously assemble software using pre-coded reusable blocks, but there's a scandal to that when it happened. So they actually had about 700 human coders, mainly employed in India, but also outsourced to Vietnam and Ukraine. So like one of their customers would be like, okay, talking to Natasha and saying, okay, create me this website that does blah, blah, blah. And then some number of those 700 coders would quickly get on it and be hurriedly piecing these things together and rushing to get this thing ready in a reasonable amount of time that makes it seem like AI has just done it. So yeah, a bit of a probably fraudulent thing, but apparently the investors wanted their money back after that when they were found out. But of course that isn't this like. So the thing with Cortical, it seems very real. It's a genuine brain in the cloud that you can rent, but it's, as we were saying, it's not even AI. It's it's doing the reinforcement learning thing, but that's actually kind of how it processes and so on, and it seems to have real world usages as well. But yeah, it's a thing. Should go on to the next story.
Yeah, that was quite fascinating, actually. Yeah, it was fascinating and scary at the same time.
But very, very. You see what I mean? It did have kind of like a ick factor to it, because it when it comes down to it, it is sort of, and then like, does consciousness come into it at any point? Is consciousness like emergent from like from complexity? Is that kind of a thing? I don't know, it's gonna be some drink some. Sorry, burp while muted. Yeah, it's a blend, by the way. It's most of it is decaf, but it's there's a little bit of caffeinated in there as well, just to try and keep me awake. It's I would normally be like, well, it's 5:15 p.m. here. I would normally be switching off at around this time. So, but I think this will work generally if you're good with this time of day to be doing these.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm not sure about the Friday. It might be a thing where I might have to pop in a little bit late if that works. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Or could always do Thursday. Just see how that goes. Anyway,
I will. I'll let you know.
Yeah, sure. I'll try and give you a bit more advance warning of the topics we're going to cover as well. Well, sorry about that. I've very much just landed you in it with this. So,
All right.
Yeah. So next story. Have I got a thing on here? I can't remember. Oh, okay. A bit more about that. I should have brought it to this infographic actually. Just pretend that was showing all along, because that's more the interesting one. What's next? Oh, that's all the infographics. I thought I'd done more. So, in which case, I should bring up the browser tabs, like that one. So there's a fair amount about it in this, in the New Scientist story as well. It's probably worth a look. I might put links into the comments and things after this. Yeah, this one. Hope Kaz is still around. Are you still here, Kaz? Because this one is especially for you, because you did request some VR, AR type news topics quite some time ago, and I'm finally getting around to it. So then I suppose if you're currently working, then yeah, maybe it's more important to be doing that. I don't know. So the metaverse and stuff. So there was this. Just computing, spatial computing. Apple introduced that term, the fancy way of saying VR, essentially.
Okay.
So basically, like trying to just sticking a computer to your face and trying to get some work done. So essentially, from this report that got produced, industry statistics report for this year, there's the overall thing. By the way, sorry, just to interrupt myself, but so AR, augmented reality, like put on the glasses and see a head-up display and things. VR is more that, can't see a thing. MR is more that, but then you do like that, like peekaboo. And XR is just kind of the term encompassing all of them. Essentially, so apparently, so this company, I'm not entirely sure if it's these people themselves. I maybe should have researched this a bit better, but Tree View Studio are at least reporting on this. Apologies to those guys if this is actually your report as well, but to be fair, your article doesn't make it clear. Essentially, they're reporting that they forecast an 87% rebound of just kind of headset shipments this year. So that because there was definitely quite a big dip in headset sales last year in 2025, which kind of stands to reason. I mean, there wasn't much. Sorry, let's turn that a bit. There just wasn't really any major stuff going on. I just realised how dark my camera view is. Apologies for that. People try and make things a bit brighter in here. That's it. It's bright. It's going to need more lighting. If I turn that, does it go any better? Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, because so last year there weren't really any major new like headsets or anything like that. Nothing to really kind of shout about. There was lots and lots of niche stuff, but nothing that you could really particularly call mainstream. There's lots of cancellations of projects. Meta closing a whole bunch of the VR games studios that they'd just bought up. So they suddenly decided that after renaming the company and everything, so it's all like metaversal and so on. They suddenly decided that there's actually no money to be made there. So they just all the VR companies that they bought up, they seem to have like shut most of them down now. So they're kind of, in a way, they're taking a leaf out of the old Microsoft book, like embrace, extend, extinguish. Except Meta also that they're getting it wrong. If they are trying to copy what Microsoft did when they were dominant, Meta aren't doing a very good job of it because they got the wrong idea. Because they also seem to be self-cancelling they're not meant to extinguish themselves, you know. So that their own like Meta Horizons metaverse that they created, and it was all meant to be like within VR and so on. They basically kind of admitted that that was all a bit of a failure. No one uses it, but they've opened it out onto just normal phone apps, and you know, I presume desktop browser based and that kind of thing, and virtually closed it to VR itself. A bit rude, you know, given that it was all like VR was meant to be the thing. But says that, but also Apple have been a bit quiet about spatial computing. I think, like, because apparently they were disappointed that their insanely priced headset, VR headset they created, didn't sell very well. Not surprised given the cost of the thing. So it costs more than a new MacBook to get this thing. So you could buy a MacBook, and you could buy like some much cheaper headset, like a Meta Quest or whatever, and just put them together, like, you know, plug one into the other or whatever, and you'd have that. And that would be a lot cheaper than the Apple headset thing. But yeah, so I think that Apple might actually be talking about releasing a new version of that. So they're still in the game, but they've been very, very quiet, at least last year. So so essentially this new in-depth industry analysis for this year, though, projects AR and VR unit shipments are going to be rebounding. So, you know, if they say so. But the thing is that the difference is they're seeing enterprise training, manufacturing, and education as kind of driving the growth rate. They reckon it's going to be like about 38% of compound annual growth rate in the number of headset shipments that we're going to see. So that, like, between now and 2029, anyway, it's one of these sort of just, they're forecasting great news, everyone, but it's not actually that, because it hasn't happened yet. They're just kind of saying like, we think this is going to happen. But you know, yeah, because they reckon there's strong data on VR's kind of training advantages. So that essentially that what they're talking about then is industry adoption rather than like consumer headsets where they're playing games and stuff. So like training for different like skilled practitioners, like for, I guess, for surgeons, that sort of thing, like healthcare, carpenters. You know, you could do remote carpentry, for example, from across the world. Just build a wardrobe while you're in Dubai, building a wardrobe that's being made in Southampton or something. But so yeah, like healthcare, training, all these sorts of things. So that there are really positive applications of VR that are starting to appear. Like, did I bring up? Oh yeah, okay. Can I play that? It's just kind of showing what I have to hit replay. It's the only way it's allowed. Okay, so this thing is basically, so there's a company called VB Spine. You might be able to tell me or work out what VB. It's not Visual Basic, but VB Spine just bought a sort of medical AR platform called xvision from a company called Augmedics. I guess Augmentic Medics and stuff. Clever. So xvision, the product, is FDA cleared, and apparently it's already been used in about 13,000 medical procedures on the spine. So actual spine surgery being done through augmented reality. I guess so. They're not remote. They're, according to their little thing there. They're standing next to the spine, which is, you know, is probably good. I don't know. So, and yeah, also kind of wonder when will they introduce AI into all of this? So so far it isn't. It's just like, you know, they put on the headset. This is surgical AR. So like not, so in other words, it's that one where they're looking through the headset, and but it's not VR, i.e. that one, and it's not mixed reality where it's that one. So it's like, kind of like, I suppose they would have like a head-up display, a HUD that would show while they're actually looking directly at the patient and their spine. So, but yeah, you kind of wonder. So we've already got, like, from investors' point of view, there's like AI. No, there's VR, there's AR, and you know, but there's, as of yet, there doesn't seem to be any AI. So I mean, that's going to get the shareholders salivating, I would think, if they do suddenly introduce that as well. But so overall, there seems to be like a bit of a market reset going on. So like traditional VR headset sales are well down. MR, mixed reality device sales, seem to be well up. And IDC, I think, are they the ones that just like do all sorts of surveys and business intelligence, that kind of thing. But they're expecting about 6 million mixed reality headsets to be sold this year. But also, even like there is mainstream adoption of a lot of this stuff. So like Ray-Ban, they sold, like last year, they sold about 7 million smart glasses. And I think that was because they actually looked more like kind of decent, like fashion accessories.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing, isn't it? By the way, yeah. I think I've worked out what the VB is, because there's three brothers, Anthony, John, and Mark Viscogliosi,
right,
and
Bob,
they had their company is actually called Viscogliosi Brothers LLC. So that's the VB. Viscogliosi Brothers. There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you had to pronounce that then, and not me. So
I actually wondered, because Viscogliosi looks like a plural word, because it's an Italian word that ends in I. So yeah. I think, you know, it's just one brother, a Viscoglioso brother, and because there's more than one, it's Viscogliosi. Anyway,
that's interesting. Didn't know that happens.
It does. Yeah, it's like martini is actually plural, you know. So
you go into a bar and say, I'd like a vodka martinez, please.
Yeah, really, yeah. That's the old joke. You know, a Roman walks into a bar and says, "Can I have a martinez, please?" And the guy behind the bar says, "Surely you mean martini?" He said, "No. If I wanted more than one, I would have said so." You know? But also the Roman, also you have to watch this. But the Roman walks into a bar and goes, "5 beers, please."
Quite like that. Yeah. So actually, Kaz to come out. So yes, VR. I have good timing catching this in. You certainly do. So far, it's been a bit negative about VR, I must admit. So apologies for that. You were waiting all this time, and now I'm just really a bit down on it. But we've recently got a PS4 VR 1. So not the of course, because Sony did release the PSVR 2, didn't they? But yeah, I can imagine that would still be pretty awesome. Just very immersive. There's something about it. It's like, you know, don't knock it until you've tried it. Definitely, because in one sense, just playing a video game on a big screen is very immersive. But the moment you're kind of in this thing and you're enclosed, a bit claustrophobic initially, but it's proper 3D, sort of thing, and it's just it really does kind of transport you there to wherever it is.
I mean,
it could be your room simulator, you know.
Yeah, so, I mean, what you were saying about the about Ray-Bans building them into like glasses, sort of thing. That'd be cool, because I'd like it if I could, you know, sit on a train going from, like, you know, Bristol to Glasgow, and put on some glasses, and then make it seem like I was having a really heavy LSD trip or something, and to sit there like watching that for 2 hours, I'd be well happy, But obviously,
you're actually watching Yellow Submarine or something like that.
Well, either that or it's like the reality that it is, but everything's like super psychedelic and stuff like that, and just something like that, to sort of like make everything really interesting to look at. I mean, that'd be great,
definitely.
And
you should check out like N Real. I think that they're called like the letter N Real, because they do those sorts of things. It's literally like they. Yeah, I think that because there are so many different types of these things. You get like AR glasses, which are intended for like walking around, and they just have like a little head-up display on it, and that's going to project it. You get others where you'd put a backing onto it, so there's no like pass through at all. But it'd be that as long as it's sitting down, you're not trying to walk around.
All right.
You can't see it. It's like the Jujanta peril sensitive sunglasses that go totally black if there's anything like scary looking around you. But yeah, and it's totally that. You can sit back and just be watching, and it's very, very portable for exactly that sort of thing.
Did you remember that? I don't know if you were around at the time, but like back in 2020 or so, when Elrond was called Elrond, and they had this
cryptocurrency, if anyone is wondering.
Yeah, and then there was a company called Ride who had this idea of like this technology that would be built into things like Audis and top end cars, where your passengers could put on a VR headset, which would respond to the actual the movements of the car and also the geographical location of the car, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they could actually be in a game, whilst traveling in a car, sort of thing. The idea being that it makes traveling in a car not boring, And
it was Holoride, isn't it?
Holoride, yeah. The ticker was called Ride, I think, but Holoride, yeah. And I could see so much wrong with that.
Especially if the driver wants a piece of the action.
Well, it was only going to be a matter of time before some driver thought, let's drive with this on.
Some idiot in a Tesla, with, like hands off the wheel and so on.
Yeah. There was that, and also the other thing of like people reporting quite bad motion sickness as well. So
of course, yeah,
might not have thought of that one.
No, because I remember I farmed some Holoride tokens back at the time.
Me too.
I didn't like pay any money for them. It was just like one of those things where checking what tokens had kind of vested this week, and there were like 3 Holoride tokens I think each week. With 0.00001 of a cent,
Yeah, that was the old meta bonding or whatever it was.
Yeah. But I do remember also just thinking that it's just an absolutely ludicrous idea. Like, why were they bothering? Like, how on earth did they think that would either catch on or be a really big thing? It's just, so niche. It was ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair, there's probably an outside chance that it might have worked out. I mean, probably the person who invented like clackers, probably thought, I'm not sure if this is going to catch on, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
but it really
catch a tailwind, I suppose. Then
yeah, but it really was not. it was. I don't know.
It just seemed like very, very limited scope. I think that was the problem. Just because, like, okay, so it lasts for as long as you're in the car. So their main customer would be like 7-year-old kids on the back seat.
7-year-old kids on a long journey. So, but they're going to want to use it for like school runs and stuff like that. Which is like 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be more trouble than it's worth. I'd rather they sit and look out the window to see, driving them from one city to some other city. You want them to see a bit of the countryside, and also partake, not just totally zone out, unless they're absolute terrors. In which case, just get them into the HoloLens thing, whatever, and just and get them to shut up. But yeah, so I think we've got one more thing, which is still just related to VR and stuff. trying to, I think for Kaz's sake, wanted to try and be a bit more positive about it. But that is Star Trek Infection. Lovely. So VR game. So the headline I wrote for myself, or the title I wrote, was "This is a big month for VR sci-fi worlds." Is it? Yeah. But the main thing there is this game has been announced, Star Trek Infection. It's to be honest, this just about sums up modern Trek, because they, with the new series they put out, super woke series, they had like Star Trek Discovery, STD, and now they got Star Trek Infection. It's just like, where are they going with this? Why? And so
I didn't even know there was one, to be honest. Actually,
you're lucky. Just don't even. Is awful. So anyway, Star Trek Infection is supposed to be survival horror, which I guess is where it's coming from. So I guess it could be fun, but then the thing is, horror isn't really Star Trek, or rather, Star Trek isn't really horror. It just isn't. That's not the thing. It's meant to be like a bit cerebral, like just thought-provoking dilemmas and this sort of thing. So Resident Evil, sure. I think that there's actually Resident Evil VR game being announced as well. But so like the zombie infection spreads, that kind of thing. But just, and I mean, yeah. So as a game, whether it's this one or that, I mean, I'd imagine this would be quite intense, actually. But potentially in a good way, because if you're getting enclosed in this big claustrophobic thing, and just kind of surrounded by scary things and echoing sounds, going, what was that? And so on. So kind of perfect for VR in that sense, like very claustrophobic jump scares, probably quite terrifying. But just don't call it Star Trek. That isn't what Star Trek is. But on the plus side, it does show that we're starting to see like big name franchises and publishers and so on. They're starting to look at VR again as a viable platform for like truly immersive experiences, essentially, like even scary ones. There's also what's this one? Oh, there's just a bunch of things. I was looking for other VR, for other sci-fi VR games this month, but I couldn't really find any. There's that, which could be interesting. Don't know. Bootstrap Island, not VR though, but probably fun. And there was this one, Rager, which could be good. It's a bit shooty, jumpy aroundy, that kind of thing. That was Resident Evil Requiem. Bloody bizarre and bloody impressive. I imagine it says. So could be at Raccoon City with the zombie raccoons, I guess. And that was Cortical Labs. I should have shown this before, their website. But yeah, see, so it's not AI. Just to throw back to that for just a sec, this is not artificial. It's actual intelligence, because they're using actual real brain neurons and things, and brains that learn. How about that? I think we're probably done. We've overrun. That wasn't quite just an exact 1 hour, but it's pretty close. So
yeah. Okay.
Well, oh damn! Sorry, I just realised I forgot to play the other thing. Oh, I should probably do this one after each new segment, but I'll just quickly play this. It's about 5 seconds.
What was that?
There we go.
Sound? What was that sound at the start?
It's
was it a woof?
I think so. It might. No, you mentioned. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure. I thought it was a rapper.
Can you play
it was
it
the dog rapping.
Can you play it again?
But, I'll play it again because I should have played it before a few times.
I can't get what it says.
Don't know. But
bad doggy.
Bad dog down. So that's about it, really.
There's a little comment here from Kaz saying, sorry to do that. I lasted 2 minutes max into Resident Evil. It was so scary. I screamed and pulled the headset off. Blimey.
Wow. Yeah. I imagine I would as well, including the screaming.
Yeah, you can't even hide behind the sofa, can you? Oh no, it's still there.
Yeah, exactly. You can trip over the sofa. That's a useful thing. Just but yeah, just Should we? So when should we do the next one? Because I think that was okay for a first attempt, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good. There were a few people here. There are a few people here.
Yeah. Thanks everyone so much for watching, for sticking that out. So we got an equal number on X as we have on YouTube, and nobody on Rumble. But I hope that'll improve. But thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it.
Well, there's definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, always room for improvement. So, damn, this is not a good outro. We'll be back. Should we say Thursday? Do you want to do Thursday or Friday? What's better?
I think Thursday's going to be better for me, to be honest. Actually.
Okay, let's do Thursday. So we'll be back on Thursday at the same time, which is 4:30 UK time, UTC, and so on.
But we'll be back tomorrow on Save a Crypto at midday. Or at least
good point. Yeah. So if you can't get enough of the two of us just rambling on, talking crap, we'll be doing that all over again tomorrow. As you said, at midday UTC, 12 p.m. With that one, we'll be doing a whole bunch of like Bitcoin and crypto TA, technical, like chart analysis and stuff, and talking about the world, the state of the world, all of that stuff. And so hope to see you there for that. That'll be on the Save with Crypto YouTube channel and on X as well. So do get subscribed there, and do please subscribe to this channel as well. Would really appreciate that. Thank you. And do all the liking and commenting and all of the good things, so tomorrow then, and Thursday at the same time, with a entirely new set of science and technology news stories and reactions and things. So I should have stopped the screen share, just realized. Yeah, that's better. God damn it, I'm going to get better at this. I'm determined to get better at this. That's how I should have put it. Right. So thanks a lot. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.